gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President of Operations at James Group International, John E. James.
I need you to take a journey with me. I need you to imagine something. I need you to imagine hot, sandy, uncomfortable. Baghdad, Iraq. In this environment, it stays so hot into the night, so long that Iraqis will sometimes go on their rooftops to sleep in the open air because of widespread lack of electricity and because it is so hot and oppressive at times in these neighborhoods where they don't have the common things that we take advantage of or take for granted, like in water, running water inside the houses and in bathrooms and such. Before they lay down for the night, they'll sprinkle water down on their rooftops to cool the surface, to keep the sand down, and to make it a little bit more comfortable for a few minutes before they go and spread their mats out and go to sleep. Now, this is a ritual that's seen all over the place in Iraq, at least in my experience. On one particular night, when we were faced with, okay, let me back up a little bit here. Ticks and poos. Funny words. Military has a lot of funny acronyms. TIC, troops in contact. POO, point of origin. Point of origin for a rocket. Point of origin for a rocket attack into the green zone where the new Iraqi government was standing up. These attacks, these POOs, threatened to destabilize the entire country. Our mission as attack helicopter pilots were to find these POOs, neutralize them, and continue with mission. The second acronym, TICS, troops in contact, those are the ones you struggle with. And that means exactly what you think it means. So on one of these routine missions in my zone, my comfort zone, watching over a specific sector of a neighborhood in northern Baghdad, one of my pilots recognized an anomaly. And anomalies, if you have an experience with, they generally signal that something could be out of whack or wrong, or possibly signal attack. We understand that there are going to be patrols in the area, and one of my pilots says, "Hey, sir, they're all buttoned up down there." And why would that be unusual? Because it's so hot, right? It's uncomfortable. It's not natural. Somebody down there knows something. I dismiss it. I'm the ranking officer in the aircraft, acting air mission commander. We continue with mission. We stay in our zone, our comfort zone. The ambush only lasted a few minutes, but it seemed like it lasted hours. Because even though our weapon systems were out of range, our radios weren't. You can imagine it sounded like Saving Private Ryan, but much, much worse, because this isn't Hollywood. This is real life. Men are on the ground suffering because I did not elect to request a change of mission. I stuck to my mission. I stuck to my comfort zone. And as a result, I have to carry with me, even though we received accolades and awards and medals, none of those matter to me. What matters are the families that be greeting their husbands, their fathers, their sons, and their brothers, not in the airport, but at a funeral home. That's the tremendous weight that we carry as veterans, because what we do is the height of seriousness. It's life and death. And the lessons we learn in those circumstances translate to the rest of our lives. I've made every mistake that a young leader can make. And from that, I've learned that leadership is about listening. And since that time and since that night, I've learned and I've taken that when you listen, when you include other people, when you humble yourself and you take the lessons that you've learned in the military, that's when you truly have an impact. At least I have. I've been able to become a fairly successful business executive, not because I have the SPHR or the PE or the MBA, but because I understand leadership, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. You tell me there's not a place in your organization for that. I'm here to talk about talent, and I shared that story with you partially to illustrate the intestinal fortitude and the abilities of our veterans, but also as somebody who's learned his lesson from great veterans who come before him. I share that with you because there's no room for closed-mindedness in leadership. No one has a monopoly on the right answer, least of all us. As such, I'm challenging you not to change your hiring processes to hiring veterans. I'm challenging you to open your minds and change your thought processes. Rather than say to yourself, how can this veteran integrate into my culture, into my company? What would that be like? Is he a robot? Is he going to run roughshod over everyone? He's over-disciplined. He might not fit. Why don't you ask yourself, is it worth the time, the money, the effort, and the resources to train purchasing skills, sales skills, finances? Or is it worth the time, effort, and the money to train leadership, duty, loyalty, change management? These are the things that veterans possess. In my opinion, resources are not nearly as important as resourcefulness. Veterans know this. And what you're looking for, experience, is not nearly as important as execution. Given this change in thought process, I would then propose to you that few more than veterans have experience dealing with uncertainty, meeting enemies, threats, opponents in different variable marketplaces, battlefields all around the world, and succeeding in their mission. This is Private Eisen. Private Eisen was a Marine fighting in Japan, June 1945. And though it was some time ago, you can, as you look at this picture, you recognize what he's doing. You see he's running, there's a sense of urgency. You see what he's carrying. You see an M1 Garand rifle. And you see the way he's carrying it. You see the ground, and you see the landscape's barren, it's flat. Offers no cover and concealment, no safety. And you can also see the frame of reference. You're looking up at this picture and notice that the photographer cannot get any closer to the ground than he already is right now. They're taking heavy machine gun fire. And where is this Marine running? He's running directly into the gunfire. Why? He's running directly into the gunfire because he is in a position to put himself somewhere that will allow his unit to maneuver more effectively. His bayonet's not fixed, his finger's not on the trigger, and he's by himself. He left his foxhole, his comfort zone, to benefit his organization. What kind of person runs headlong into machine gun fire and to uncertainty? Probably the same type of person who will run headlong into a city that just filed bankruptcy. Probably the same kind of person who get his hands dirty, her hands dirty, in building blighted areas back up. Veterans are at the nexus of imagination and execution. That is where impact and entrepreneurship meet. When you give a vet a job, if you stick him in a hole, you will be grossly underutilizing his best resources, his passion, his mindset. How many of you has a tattoo of your company on your chest? Now, if I'm in a room full of Marines, how many people would say you have a bulldog, or you have a USMC, or do you have an anchor on your chest? You have the opportunity to work with people who live with a purpose. If you can get them to think how you think, then they'll work for you. But if you can get them to believe what you believe, then they will work for you. Military is a progressive organization and not nearly as rigid and robotic as you may think. As you can imagine, barracks were integrated before dugouts were. Don't ask, don't tell was repealed and without very much fanfare in the military ranks because military members didn't need politicians to tell them how to fight fair and fight effectively. Equal pay for equal work. has been a non-issue in the military for decades. Whether you're male or female, if you're an 01 with a year in, you make the same exact pay. There's no tax on being a female in the military. This diversity is something that helps and will help integrate the veterans with your business, because unlike, flashing light? Yeah, I'll be done soon. There's only 5 of you here, so we're good. This diversity and this ability to tie things together because of exposure to different people will enable a veteran to integrate into your organizations extremely quickly because they've seen you before. Don't think your problem is special, because this still applies. There are veterans coming back today who have the courage, who have the ability, and who can still march forward using the resource that they have. We plaster our values. I've seen some of them. I've seen some of your corporation's value statements. Which one do you think is most common? Integrity, quality, service. We can't put those on our walls and our websites and keep them there. We can't say that these are values that we hold dear to what we have in our organizations, and then balk at the opportunity to bring on board the very people who embody those characteristics. We're going to offer you that opportunity today. As competition becomes less local and more global, in order for Michigan, Detroit, and for our business to compete, we have to create an environment where growth happens organically within Detroit at the lowest levels, where people who are not afraid to run headlong into danger and uncertainty. Those are your veterans. And what they bring with them is not only their ingenuity, but they bring with them their families. The same people who helped get them through these multiple deployments. The same people who will grow our schools and grow our organizations. So veterans are more than just themselves, and they will tell you that. In a culture that's quick to social media outrage and slow, very, very slow to meaningful, relentless, positive action, we have to seek the best candidates. And the best candidate may not be the one with the expensive diploma or the sexy professional pedigree. In order to find the best candidate, you have to consider all the candidates, not just the convenient ones. You're going to have to be the business leader that you think you are, be the business leader that you have on your business card, and don't be afraid to leave your foxhole, your comfort zone. The solutions that we so desperately need are outside of our comfort zones. Veterans are uniquely qualified to meet the uncertainty of the future in this state and in this country. They meet it with fearless creativity, passionate execution, and selfless service. Now, it's been a nice talk, and I guarantee you it's almost over. But this cannot be a nice conference. This wasn't intended to make you feel good. I'm going to give you a second, but if you have a pen and paper or a cell phone, I'm going to give you a number. And if you're serious about leaving this convention and having an impact, having a change, supporting veterans rather than thanking them in the airport, if you want to do something about it, not say something about it, take this number down. Employment Analyst, Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. Phone number 517-284-5222. The number again is 517-284-5222. It's Friday. Call your HR directors, or if you are one yourself, call, ask for additional information. If they can't help you, no one can. Thank you.